This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Everybody Lies, our house mid episodes. MD, actually. Sorry, I misread that.
Hey, do you think we could play like short clips of like songs, or is that still like a copyright thing?
No, we can play short clips as long as we're not doing the whole thing.
Because there's a System of a Down song. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. I'll remember it later. Everybody goes, everybody lies.
Oh yeah, I think we could do that.
It's violent pornography is what it's called.
Oh, I love violent pornography.
Yeah, not myself so much.
Oh, and the song. No, I'm not that into it. Every day. But
What?
so this episode is entitled Sports Medicine. I guess because this guy's an athlete.
Isn't this guy from something too? Scott Foley, I think his name is.
Yeah. Scott Foley has been
the child of Scott Thompson and Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall.
Exactly. That's every time I see his name, I'm like,
yep. I think of the Kids in the Hall.
Yeah, and I think of Dave Foley, and I'm like, yeah, he kind of looks like Dave Foley.
Except he's very tall. It looks like
he was in Scream 3. I know that.
Dave Foley was.
Yeah, and Scott Foley.
Dave Foley was Ghostface.
They were a father-son duo.
Like Sydney.
He's been in some different TV shows. Like, trying to think, he was. I know he was in Dawson's Creek for a while.
How would Danny DeVito talk about his career?
Let me see. Okay, so if I start with the
Start with the Tony Danza.
With the Tony Danza. Angela, Mona, Samantha.
Yeah, it's got that same rasp to it. It's got the same rasp, but more with a Philly accent.
Dave Foley, he...
That wasn't bad.
He's in Scream 3, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd have to listen to him more.
Yeah, I think if you listen to him more, you'd be able to get it. You're not far off, but you're completely off at the same time.
He was in Felicity. He had a start, like he was he was in Scrubs.
Was he Felicity?
I think he played Zoe.
On Scrubs? I've never seen Scrubs.
Yeah, he was on Scrubs. He was on House. Just that one episode. The Last Templar. He was on a show called Cougar Town.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any of these, so I don't know why that name looks familiar.
Grey's Anatomy. Scandal. You ever seen Scandal? He's in 100 episodes of that.
Jeez.
Whiskey Cavalier. That's where I saw commercials for it. It was with the girl with...
Is that a soap?
No, they're spies. Like, he's a spy.
Oh, it's a TV show?
Yeah. He's a spy and she's a spy. With Lauren Cohen from The Walking Dead was in it, too. And
yeah, I don't know who that is.
There was, like, sexual chemistry between the two of them. I don't know. He was married to Jennifer Garner for a while.
I think that's where I know the name from.
From the Jennifer Garner marriage?
Was he on the show Alias?
Probably.
Alias, Mr. Gardner, am I right?
Right, yeah.
Even though I fucked it up at the beginning.
He was on Step by Step for an episode.
Oh, I wish I knew which episode.
A Star is Born.
Oh, I think that's the episode where Karen gets into country music and what is he, like her boyfriend or agent probably?
Holy shit! I don't know, but if that's right, I'm gonna plot.
Jeez.
Step by Step. A Star is Born. Season 7, episode 2. Well, Karen is on the cover. I always thought Karen was pretty attractive.
Was she the dark-haired one?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
I like dark-haired women. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get a plot summary of A Star is Born. Yep. Well, I don't know who he played, but after landing a movie role, Al decides to quit school and begin a new career in Los Angeles.
Oh, that's not it then.
Yeah, that's Al. But yet, Karen's the one on the cover.
Why wouldn't you put her there?
That's true. But anyway, so Scott Foley is playing a pitcher who was on drugs, and in a twist, Major League Baseball decided to do something about it.
And another immediate twist afterwards. We see his agent look like he. See, they try and trick us out here. They know that we're watching the show at this point, so
Yeah.
they make it look at the the coach is going to.
The producers are like, Mike and Mark are watching the show. We
No,
got
not as specifically, but I mean, they kind of it's almost like procedural. So they
it's
kind of
us
try.
specifically.
Yeah. So they try and mix it up. So like we see him gasping at his chest, and like he takes a pill. He goes, "Oh, it's just gas,"
Uh-huh.
But then in a third twist, this one the most shocking of all, Bryan Singer is the director of this fucking commercial.
Yeah, he's filming an anti-drug commercial. Luckily, it's not an anti-touching boys commercial. And,
Right. And he's also a producer of House, so that's pretty fucked up. You put yourself in an episode?
Yeah.
Was anybody really calling for a Bryan Singer? Hey, get the guy who directed X-Men 2 in here. He knows how to work a camera.
Right? So yeah, he comes in and he is like, obviously the dude can't deliver the lines. Scott Foley does a pretty good job of sounding like a convincing horrible actor.
Yeah, he really does do a good job of that.
And so Singer comes in to try to talk to him. He's like, look, I usually don't give line readings. I usually give lines to underage boys.
Probably.
But allegedly. Yeah, this is all allegedly. So the wife comes in there and says, "Oh no, you got to do it like this and everything." So he goes to throw a pitch, and his arm breaks.
Yeah, it like shatters immediately, which is weird because you think he would have tried to throw a pitch before now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding. But
he's on his comeback from like being in rehab and being reinstated. He's about to go to spring training. You think he would have tried to warm up a bit,
right? But we cut to the hospital, and House and Wilson are walking together, and he says, "Yeah, guy's got osteopenia," and House says, "Young man," and Bryan Singer says, "Yes." He says he's a young guy, right? And Wilson's like, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" And he's like, "Well, if he's an old guy, you wouldn't care because it's just like osteopenia. Okay, so that's just a side effect of being old." And
then Bryan Singer comes out and goes, "Well, he doesn't have prostate cancer." But he goes, "Just kidding. He's far too old for me."
But he says, if he's a young guy, the most likely cause is cancer. You're an oncologist. You couldn't find it, so you're coming to me. And he says, he reveals Wilson reveals from looking at the baseball card that it's I can't remember the dude's name, but famous baseball player. There's a subplot. I mean, they only mention it a few times, but it almost is a subplot of him pitching against the Yankees. They really want the fucking Yankees to lose.
Yeah, it's mentioned quite a few times.
I would say and everyone mentions it. Like House mentions it, Wilson mentions it, Cuddy mentions it. And I don't know, I guess, it doesn't make any sense because I know obviously there's interleague play now and everything, but my guess would be living in New Jersey, they'd be Mets fans and maybe he's pitching for the Mets, but the Yankees and the Mets, they wouldn't open against each other.
I mean, not back then. Now they might. They do have a lot of interleague play early in the season these days. I think it could just be that he, how basically a baseball player doesn't usually live in the city they play for. I mean, they just go to hotels all the time, so they don't necessarily have a house there. He probably is just from New Jersey, and who would be their big rival? I don't really know. I mean, who would it be at the time? I mean, I can't think of another. It's the Red Sox, I guess. I mean, but that's you wouldn't think the people from New Jersey would be big Red Sox fans.
No, I mean, like I said, I would guess the Mets, maybe the Orioles, maybe, I guess.
I don't know. I don't think any of them really make sense, honestly. I think it's just obviously like a made up kind of thing.
Yeah, they don't like the Yankees for whatever reason.
I mean, good for them. Who likes the Yankees? Douchebags, that's who. If you're not from New York and you like the Yankees, fuck you.
Yeah, agreed. So anyway, he he basically says, hey, if we can figure out what's causing the osteopenia, then we can reverse the damage and he can get this surgery and pitch again. So House, is interested basically because, he's a famous baseball player and I guess House likes baseball for some reason.
Yeah, that's one of the many things he likes that, are kind of surprising. And Wilson, of course, has a signed baseball card to the Cy Young of
oncology, I think it says, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
To Jimmy. To Jimmy Wilson, the Cy Young of oncology.
And then Wilson claims he only told him to put the Jimmy Wilson part.
Right. What's his name? Chase comes in there. And so basically they do the differential. Also Foreman wakes up in a hotel room with a fairly attractive drug rep who he's obviously just banged. And, he's like, I feel bad because it was like a business lunch and you shouldn't be paying for he's like, she basically paid for sex with him. And, she's like, it was business and then it wasn't, it's fine. But I'll tell you what, here's the Magnum condoms you use. We're going to point that out, that Omar Epps used Magnum condoms. So if you want to reimburse me for that, then, you can give me the $5 for that.
What's kind of weird about that is he does.
Yeah, I know. So he shows up a little bit late and House is... he says, what's he say? That his car broke down on the freeway. That's what he says. And House is like, I don't believe you at all. Because he points out that he's only like a couple minutes late. And
he's like 2 minutes late.
Yeah. So they come for the differential. They basically say, we think that it's steroids. Like steroid abuse is what explains it.
Yeah, because he's he's having kidney failure. He's a professional athlete who gained like 20 pounds in a season when he was playing in Japan.
Yep. House looks at his testicles. Bryan Singer pops out and says, "Hello." But he says, "Look."
he sounds like Mr. Belvedere.
He says, "Look, they're all shriveled up. Obviously it's steroids." And he says, put him on this or whatever. Though the wife comes out and she says, he tests negative for steroids. Oh yeah, I wanted to point out. So he's like, Chase says, we're going to need some urine. And he goes, I want to say no. So I'm going to say no. And right then, that's pretty like damning. And his wife says,
right, I mean, and that.
Yeah, his wife goes, trust is really important in the program and everything, and he needs you to trust him. And it's like, they're doctors. They're
not in the program.
Yeah, they're gonna test. Like they're not loved ones. Like maybe you need to trust him and everything, but the doctors need to test for several different things.
I always think that's just kind of weird. Like I don't know what I was gonna say. I had a thought, but.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, like I know some people who use like marijuana and that kind of stuff, and they don't tell the doctor about it. I mean, like why? I mean, they can't tell on you if they don't want to in the first place.
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, it's like it might be applicable. I mean, I if I'm on something, I had to go to the doctor. It's a long story, but I had taken a Xanax because I was like really anxious. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I immediately I took his. I don't know if that would be causing this, but I did take a Xanax. So, I mean, they're doctors. I mean, they're not police. I mean, just tell them everything. It'll save time.
Exactly. So they, Chase says, she goes, "You think he's an idiot or whatever?" And Chase's like, "Yeah, I do, because he's urinating into the catheter right now because he's been cathed. So he just takes the urine from there." Now, it turns out that he tests negative for steroids. House then says, the testicles are what will tell us they are shriveled. And he says, yeah, they have all these things that can mask steroids on drug tests.
Yeah, which is 100% true. I don't think it's very accurate, but he says there's more money to be made, changing up steroids than there is for, curing like diabetes or something like that.
Right. But so
it's really an interesting What's really odd to me is you never hear of a football player being busted for steroids. I mean, there's performance enhancing drugs, but I mean, if any sport is using steroids, it's got to be football.
I would imagine, yeah, that is weird. Like and like you said, you never hear of. Maybe every once in a great while, some like third stringer will test positive or something like that. But like you said,
in college,
yeah. But yeah,
I wonder if like the players union, because I mean in basketball, apparently like a ton of basketball players smoke weed or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then like they say like it's like everyone knows when the test is going to be. They give you like a thoroughly like advanced like 60 days or something like that, so you have more than enough time to get out of your system. Like it's part of the players collective bargaining unit. I wonder if the football has something similar. If like both the owners and the players just kind of want to not mention it because they both kind of know what's going on. It would really be bad for the sport.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all. Because like you said, I mean, that's where you would get the most advantage of it is in football.
Yeah, because steroids are really more for they don't make you strong, but they just like shorten the recovery time. And when you're, playing football and ripping your muscles and like, destroying your joints and shit, recovery is what you really need.
Absolutely. Yep. But anyway, so yeah, that's a misnomer with steroids. You can't just like inject steroids and then like all of a sudden do nothing, and then like all of a sudden you get like a bunch of muscle. You have to actually do the workouts.
Yeah, but you can work out like 2 or 3 times a day instead of 1 now. So,
exactly.
I mean, you get gained that way.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, 20 pounds of muscles is a lot.
Oh yeah, a lot of muscle. And so anyway, they do the test. It turns out negative, and House administers the drug. Anyway, the wife says, "Oh, he tested negative for the drugs. He says he did not doing them, and you're gonna give him stuff for him anyway." And it's like, no, he's like, basically it's just calcium. He's like, chemically, it's really no different than milk. And it's clear to me that he's just like being sarcastic. But I guess she took it seriously.
Yeah, she clearly did take it seriously.
Because Cuddy's like, so you just lied to her and gave her the drugs? And he's like, I've got a lot of different good reasons for it.
Wait, another thing that was happening around him here was House was like desperate. He's like asking people for money and he's like trying to get out early. So he's like, oh, I need to. He's saying to someone on the phone, oh, I'm about to score. And like, people were like, what are you talking about? And this was one of my favorite parts of the episode. Cuddy he wants to leave at like 4:45, but like Cuddy just insists he stays till 5. So he has like 3 patients, and he's just like walking by, like diagnosing the patients as he walks by.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, like the one lady, like he's like, "Oh, you're about to get married. You're trying to lose weight. That's what's affecting. You're getting like shin splints, basically." And then the other guy's like a dentist, so he's like, he's got he's either deliberately overdosing on a nitrous or he's got like a leak.
Yep.
The third guy, I don't think he quite said what he had, but it was a pretty funny scene.
The kid he's like, I can't see, and he's like, no, I'm just fucking with you. It's a hangover. He's like, my teacher told me I need to get a doctor's note next time.
Yeah, there's another guy too, I think, before him. I don't remember what he was.
Yeah, before the dentist, because it's the dentist, it's the girl, somebody, the dentist, and then. Oh damn it! What is it? I can't.
It was like it was whatever it was embarrassing, but yeah, I don't know.
But anyway,
so yeah, he gives him this milk like a substance, and he goes, "Yeah, if it's not steroids, he's gonna have some really bad respiratory problems."
And he ends up having bad respiratory problems.
Right.
So it's not the steroids, and they're not sure what it is.
And so they think it's going to be Addison's disease, which I guess they say is like an adrenal dysfunction. Unfortunately, the treatment for it is steroids, which will destroy his kidneys.
Yep.
And House actually makes a callback to the last episode. And you go, I guess we're going to need a new kidney. He says it so like nonchalantly. And again, he talks to the guy. He goes, "Are you sure you're not on steroids?" He goes, "Well, 5 years ago, this coach put me on something. I don't know what it was. I didn't ask, but I did get more muscular." So I was like, "Yeah, it's obviously that must have been steroids he gave him." So he's clearly got this Addison's disease thing now. He's going to need a new kidney. And so he goes to Cuddy, and Cuddy's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Right? Yeah, because
he
he's
came
like
last week for a kidney, then he just like spit on the guy when he was about to put it in the person.
But yeah, so he said, she's like, we don't usually give kidneys to people with whatever it is.
Yeah, they don't really know what's causing the kidney to be affected.
But basically,
he's a famous baseball player, but he's not like Hall of Fame.
Right. But basically, he says the kidney damage, because if you take out the kidney damage and the tiny gonads and the osteopenia and everything, it leads to Addison's disease, which is what Kennedy had. And then
And then
yep.
his wife actually volunteers to give him a kidney, and then House like, yeah, there's like a very slim chance he'll even be a match,
You sound like you're on drugs.
And another reason was Cuddy didn't even know if he had Addison's. He just kind of thought he might.
Have you had too much to drink, Mike?
Me?
Yeah.
No, there's some kind of a packet loss happening. I hear you too. It's like it sounds really distorted.
Yeah, you sound better now, but it sounded all like.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's caused. That's been happening a bit actually, but I just keep off mic when that happens, and it eventually works its way out.
No, you're good though. But yes.
But yeah, so
they
sorry,
they say Addison's disease. That explains everything but the kidney, and damage from past steroid use explains the kidney. And like you said, the wife wants to give the kidney. It turns out she is a match, but there's a complication.
Right. And actually, a little bit right before this, we find out the thing House was leaving early for was he gets 2 all-access monster truck tickets.
Yes.
Apparently, it's really, I think, a lot of people these days like to call themselves like a geek or a nerd. But I think really House is in the true sense where he likes what he likes and he doesn't give a shit what anyone else thinks about it,
Yeah.
He's the same, he likes this jazz, musician that came in, a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. He likes baseball, he likes monster trucks. He doesn't seem to have a tinge of irony, with his love for the monster truck rally either. And Wilson is equally excited.
Yeah, exactly.
However, Wilson can't make it because he has an oncology conference that Cameron mentions because she has to go there because he's giving Wilson is giving this big speech about I think it's rectal cancer.
Yeah, and she's going to the oncology conference because Foreman wants to know if anyone can cover for him on Friday because he wants to fuck that rep again.
Yeah, and then Wilson's like, yeah, I'm giving this big speech, and House is like, oh, that's okay, I'll just ask another friend. And Wilson's like, you don't have any other friends.
That is the best.
He legitimately looks mystified as to who you could possibly be talking.
Yeah, and the friend turns out to be Cameron.
Right, who is just the first person he sees.
Yep.
And then Cameron's like, oh, so it's a date? And he's like, no, it's not a date. What are you talking about? We're going to go see Monster.
Right. But she's like, oh, what do I wear? And so she kind of does agree to go.
And she's like, oh, I guess I won't go to this conference. And then he's like, oh, Wilson will be disappointed. He's like, oh, Wilson canceled 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so Wilson's lying to him. But so they they're they want to do the kidney transplant. The wife is a match, but it turns out that she's pregnant, and they'd been trying to get pregnant. And basically, House says, in your current condition, you can't be a donor. So she says, well, I'll get an abortion, I'll donate the kidney, and then everything will be good. But Scott Foley doesn't want her to do that. He wants the baby to be born. And, it's basically a fight between the two of them. What are they going to do? And House says, well, if she has the abortion, the guy's not going to be he's not going to die on principle. But it turns out that maybe he would have, because the next thing that happens is all of a sudden his heart rate goes through the roof, and then they give him some drugs to try to calm it down, and then his heart rate starts to plummet below 40. And around 35, which is that's really low. And
he's a professional athlete, so you would think it wouldn't be super high, to begin with. But yeah, unless he's Lance Armstrong, he's probably gonna have a 35 or 40.
Right. So that's a problem, and they're not exactly sure what's going on. Wilson gives House the idea this time because he talks kind of through it with him. And he's having hallucinations, the Scott Foley character is, of his coach And he's like, oh, I'll just take one. He's like, oh, the pain's really bad, and everything. And Wilson says, well, digitalis would cause that, but it wouldn't account for any of his earlier symptoms, just these symptoms. And House is like, yeah, that's a good point. So he goes and talks to the coach and says, hey, you got a heart problem there, huh? And the coach is like, yeah, I do. He's like, what do you take for it? And he says, digitalis. And he's like, they're right here. And he's like, oh, it's weird. I just had this filled, and like most of them are gone now. And he's like, yeah, Scott Foley just tried to kill himself with them. He stole them from you. And, he goes and confronts him, and the guy says, yeah, I did try to do that because I want my wife to have this baby. We've been trying to have a baby for years, and, I want her to have the baby, so I'm not gonna let her give me a kidney. So House tells the wife, and he's basically like, look, there's nothing you can do. Because, yeah, it's your body, you can choose, but he can choose too. He can basically say, I don't want her kidney no matter what. So
yeah, he says something like, if I see her, or even she even mentions not having this baby, I'm just going to kill myself, and then she will, because he's very adamant, which I don't understand, because I assume they could just have another one, but
yeah.
But he asked for the kidney. They're not going to look for one. And then House notes that the urine bag is spilled on him.
Yes.
And then the wife can't seem to even detect that. She doesn't smell it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just kind of gets pissed at Wilson. He goes, "Oh, I found out that you're canceled." He goes, "What?" And then he says he's going, to dinner with this. I can't remember what her name's Stacy, I think. I don't remember what her profession was, but
constitutional lawyer.
That's it. Yeah. House is kind of, you can tell House is kind of hurt by this, but he goes, "Oh, just say hello."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this woman's like, "I'm going to have this abortion," but House is like, "You know what? Your husband is going to, he's going to die, but he wants you to keep the baby. So either way, even with the kidney, he might not make it. We don't even know what's causing the kidney thing."
Mm-hmm.
And then so they're talking about how House asked Cameron to the monster truck thing, and then House finds a whole team at a restaurant with a pharmaceutical rep.
Yeah.
He tells her to go get him a coffee, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they're all looking at House. He's like, "Yeah, you're like the roadies. I'm Mick Jagger. She wants to get to. She's trying to sleep with one of you to get to me."
Yep. And he wants it to be Cameron, but it's not.
Right? Yeah. It's he figures out that it's Foreman pretty easily, actually.
And that later, when they're together, Foreman and the drug rep, she's like, "What about House? Do you think we could get him down to this drug conference?" Right. And you can see Foreman realizes that House is right. And he's like, "Do you really want to talk about work right now?" And she's like, "Oh no."
Great.
But
Chasen kind of flashes back. He's like, "Wait a second. He didn't want me to test his urine, but it's not steroids. So what was he trying to get me to not test it for?"
Mm-hmm. And they figure out that it's cadmium poisoning.
Yeah, and this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Apparently, they're saying that the marijuana, they find out that marijuana is in a system. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really understand here. Apparently, the wife and him are both using it, but she's upset with him because he's using it more. Is that what the issue was? I thought they were supposed to be drug free.
So she quit. They were both smoking it. She quit. They were both supposed to quit at the same time. Which I guess was months ago. She quit and he didn't. And I guess he's smoking a lot of it, according to them.
And apparently he's buying it from the exact same person who got it from the exact same place every single time.
Yeah, apparently that is the case. I don't know if it's someone...
very implausible...
Yeah, if it's someone growing it in their backyard or whatever, but...
Yeah, in their backup battery,
Yeah.
Industrial waste.
In order for the marijuana to contain enough cadmium to, one, even to cause the relatively minor symptom of losing her sense of smell would be a decent amount of cadmium, but for it to cause osteopenia and hypogonadism and all this stuff, and how does he not notice that? How does he not notice his balls shriveling? And
you think he or the wife would, I mean, if they're trying to have a child, you think she would, see them every so often. Maybe they're just covered in hair, completely unmanscaped.
Yeah, exactly. he needs to manscape so he can notice those wave hosts getting smaller there. Manscaped.com, promo code late fee.
I mean, I don't see how you could get enough of it from that to make you, basically die.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous to me. It's far fetched.
To be 100% better, he's going to be starting, opening day. How that's possible when his bones have withered to the point where they snap just from throwing a ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chase points out, he's like, you should be good by opening day. Baseball's in the summer, right? And it's like, okay, what is it supposed to be, the dead of winter?
I mean, either or. It's ridiculous. I mean, his bones are. I mean, they're like toothpicks.
Yeah. No, I agree. It is pretty ridiculous. I don't like. This is one of the more far-fetched ones for sure.
I mean, it's almost like it's almost like a bad take on Reefer Madness. I mean, it's like you're saying like. See, to me, I think the most ridiculous thing about our society, and the thing that could tell you that our society is ridiculous, is that beer is legal, but marijuana is illegal. That's like the complete opposite of the way things should be. I mean, I don't think marijuana is harmless. I mean, I don't think but I mean, I don't think it's more dangerous or as dangerous as alcohol.
Correct.
It's just ridiculous.
Yep. Agreed.
But I mean, cadmium, that doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. This whole plot is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a very good episode. I think the episode's very good. There's, at this point, the parts are working together seamlessly.
Mm-hmm.
We're just getting doled out little bits of information about the characters. Cameron goes to the monster truck show with House. She seems to enjoy it. They share some cotton candy. She goes, "Oh, have you ever been married?" He's like, "No, I lived with someone before, though." He's and then they have a funny discussion about House's use of prostitutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you know who that is that he lived with?
No.
It's Stacy.
Oh, the one that Wilson's with?
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, the one that Wilson's going to dinner with.
That's pretty fucked up.
That's the woman that he lived with. And we'll find out more about her towards the end of this season. Wilson
has one friend, or Wilson's friend. He knows the House only has him as a friend, and he's going to date his ex-girlfriend.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, God.
But yeah, that is the episode.
But yeah, and I think it ends with another reference to, just beat the Yankees. That's all we.
Yeah, that's.
The one patient I just remember, he couldn't take his contact lenses out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's right. I was just looking. He goes, "You're not wearing that. You're gonna rip your cornea."
He wasn't wearing contact lenses. He's like, "But my eyes are red." It's because you're trying to remove your cornea.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I thought the whole cause was ridiculous, but I like this one. It's a very good.
Yeah, it's decent. Next episode is when we start a little mini arc with Chai McBride, which I always kind of found decently interesting. We'll see what you think of it. But that begins next week with I think Mob Rules is the name of the episode, I believe. But
I think it's actually something different. What is it called? I can't remember. It's like something to do with like phobia or something like that. Cursed. I think.
Mob Rules might be the second one in the. Well, maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't start until the episode after that.
It could be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called Cursed, and I think it has that guy who was in Freaks and Geeks in it.
Oh, which one?
The
Sam Levine.
Sam. Not Sam. Who's Linda Cardellini's younger brother? That guy, is that Sam?
Oh, no, yeah. I can't remember his name, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Rudy
Ray Moore.
Yep, that's him.
Bitch, are you for real?
That'd be great. Yeah, so pretty decent episode. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right, well, that is our episode 4. Yeah, it is. You're right. Cursed is the next one. That's not where it starts. It starts with Control, episode 14. So it is not next week. It's the week after that. But we're getting there. But yeah, that's our episode for the week. As always, tell friends, anybody that you know that likes House MD, tell them we're here. and that we're the best house podcast out there, and any other house podcast that might or might not exist is probably terrible. But we will see you next week. Bye.
See you next time.